Cheerio. I'm really hoping this works, so I'm a little nervous. I'll try to be funny. My beginning isn't very funny, but I happened to see this. I was watching our girl, Kinsey Schofield, who I love. I talked to you about her eyelashes. It amazes me how she does that. She was talking to Melissa Rivers. You remember Melissa Rivers? She's the daughter of Joan Rivers, who I love, who was walking into her apartment one day and made a comment about Michelle Obama being the first transgender in the White House. And what do you know? Magically, about 1 week later, she died during routine surgery. Isn't that odd? And she wasn't friends with Hillary Clinton. But Melissa Rivers made the comment that, let me know how you feel about that below. You can tell me if you agree with me that Hillary Clinton had something to do with the JFK Jr. Plane crash. Melissa Rivers told Kinsey that Meghan Markle was given a beautiful platform, yet she doesn't use it. And she doesn't. She knew all about the royal family before she got into it. She simply used Harry. Who said it? Someone who knew her ex-husband. I'm trying to think who it is. Knew her ex-husband when they were younger. Said that Meghan had a photo of Harry on her little teenage vision board. I've read on other places that Meghan is so behind in the times. Okay, so I'm not on Instagram. I don't really know anything about it. I do know that people say that Meghan closes her comments on every Instagram post. Well, you know why? Because she doesn't want someone to hurt her feelings or someone to give the real truth that doesn't match up with her truth. Isn't that comical how they say that? Okay, what happened to my head? You know, we were in Galesville this weekend, and there's beautiful stuff all over the yard, and I happened to trip over a piece of wood, and I mean, I went forward, I can see the whole thing, my glasses flew off my face. I mean, I thought I was going to have to be taken to CVS to get a new pair of glasses. And it hurt. And here's something, I walked straight into the garage, that's how I call it, the garage, and I went and sat behind, there's a boat in there that was just serviced. And I went and I sat on a cooler behind the boat, and Sal walked right around the corner within 30 seconds of it happening, and I was crying. It hurt. He said, "Are you okay?" And I just looked at him and I said, "I fell." I may have said, "Are you okay? What happened?" And I said, "I fell." I was upset. You know, when you just get hurt, the last thing you want, well, most of the time, is someone to come help you. I was also a little embarrassed. And he just took off. He knew exactly that when I needed help, I would find him. And I didn't end up needing help. I put a little Neosporin on it. Now, when I go to the loo in the middle of the night, which I usually do 2 or 3 times, yes, I'm an old lady, when I come back, the dogs sleep in my room. And, of course, they sleep directly next to my bed, so I have to use my phone for a little bit of light and walk through them. And I always lean down and pet them. And I say, "Mommy loves whomever is closest. Mommy loves Oscar. Mommy loves Lucy." Well, last night I noticed that when I leaned down to pet them, I had a little pain. I mean, little headache pain right in this area. It got me. Doesn't hurt today. It did hurt a bit yesterday. But everyone says her Instagram posts are behind the times. That little vision board. Shannon Watts was the only person I'd ever heard of in my entire life that had a vision board. But that's how it was. She was murdered when? 2016? When was Shannon Watts murdered? It's been a long time, maybe 2018. Whatever year I started my channel. That's why I started my channel. I'm watching all these people just praise this woman. And I'm like, hello, does no one not see that, A, she's a narcissist, just like Meghan? She didn't deserve to be murdered. The girls definitely didn't. But they were becoming just like mom. They were going to end up being little moms. And he was going to be surrounded by 3 little moms. Okay, I need to stop because I'll piss people off. Oh, excuse my mouth. Lucy, come on. Oh, there's another dog a couple of houses down. They're going to all communicate. Go over there and talk. My goodness. Dogs are wonderful, aren't they? They really, really are. But Meghan said in some podcast the other day, I thought I was going to have a baby on one hip and doing a speech. No, you didn't, you wench. You knew exactly well that you were going to have multiple nannies and that you were going to get him to Hollywood very, very shortly. You only married him because Hollywood didn't want you. Hang on, I have to turn the fan on. I was out here earlier and it was chilly. I mean, it was like Antarctica. And then I came out to do this video, and I noticed I was wearing the same sweatshirt as the last video. So I went in to change the sweatshirt, and I thought, what the heck, I'll put in a turtleneck because I'm so cold. And now it's a little warm. So hang on, let me put the fan on. But she knew dang well what she was doing, and had it been someone not as ignorant and gullible as Harry, they wouldn't have fallen for it. You know, all of his friends, Prince William, the future king, who's married to Catherine, who will be the future queen, Meghan, she will be the future queen, nothing secret about that. And I say that because I have a couple people, and I only have 6,000 subscribers, a couple people on here that I think is Meghan. A couple of the comments are just asinine defending this woman. I'm like, hello. And Kinsey and Maureen McDowell, no, it's not Maureen McDowell, Maureen O'Connell, is that her name? She does a show called The Nerve. Megyn Kelly works with her. They do a pretend Meghan Markle thing, which is hilarious. But they both think that Meghan is on there. I'm still screaming. That Meghan is on their comments. And again, I have a tiny, tiny little channel. I have a Tootsie Roll channel. Tell me if you know what that means. But I think she trolls all this stuff. You know, she said in one of her podcasts, everyone wants to know what I do. I work all day. You know, the kids go to different schools. I get up at 6:30. I'm not home till 9. Well, little Betty, and I got that from, I think, Mark Dolan. Little Betty, and I love Mark Dolan. He's going on a tour across the U.S. in June and July, and he's coming to D.C., so we will go see him. I took Sal to see Jimmy Dore. I know he was not excited about it, but he walked out laughing. Jimmy Dore's pretty funny as well. And Jimmy Dore used to be hardcore left, and he's moving the other way. It's also kind of nice. Oh, I won't get political. If you watch me, you know exactly how I feel about politics. I'm a gun owner. I have a concealed carry permit. So if you meet me in public and you mess with me, I was trying to change my language, watch out. I got a 9mm in my pocket. But again, they both think that, so I work all day. Why isn't 3-year-old little Betty staying at home? Oh, that's right, because she's going to have to go to potty training school pretty soon, just like Archie did. And I've already told you how I feel about his name. If you're going to name him a royal name, Archibald. But there are plenty of other royal names, you wench. Her little As Ever brand, it's finished. You know, they sold out the 12 jars, and the $28 honey sold out in 45 minutes. That's what she told Jamie Carolina. Somebody else said this, but I thought it when I heard it. That little girl voice that Meg is wonderful. I thought it when I heard it. I thought, dang, that sounds like that idiot Jamie Carolina, who was on the first episode of Big Brother, which I believe, I'm 99% sure, that they just put cameras in a house and everybody lives together. It has to be somewhat staged, because how is that going to be entertaining? I have no idea if they drink alcohol, because I know on another one of those shows they do drink alcohol, and the producers try to get them drunk because then they know there'll be drama, naughty things may happen, and that's what they want. They want people to sit and watch. And again, I've never watched any of that nonsense. But if it sold out that quickly, my goodness, you have momentum. What do? You restock immediately. Now, she did use a company that has a terrible, terrible reputation. I've heard that people are still awaiting refunds that are not getting their refunds. So far, she's not on a high note with some parts. But with the other people, the other 15 people who bought, who half of them were journalists, who's my guy in England, whom I love so much? He does that talk TV. I can't remember his name. I love him. He's hilarious. I know he bought one. A couple of people I watch bought one, and they all got the same reviews. But so that's not what you do. You don't gather your information. You notice how she talks differently now? Piers Morgan noted that. She didn't speak like that when he met her in a pub, and she spoke normally. But anyway, she's going to gather her information and find out what people really want seasonally, because that's what all female founders do. She almost seems offended that people aren't doing stuff for her simply because she's royal now, or an ex-royal. And she apparently said that to someone. Some producer said something to her, and she's like, don't you know who I am? Yeah, we know who you is. We know who you is because nobody wanted to know who you was before Prince Harry. You were on some stupid show that no one had ever heard. Meanwhile, Harry told us that William and Catherine were huge fans. Yeah, right. Goodness. And I'll not say what I'm thinking. It's not very nice. Mark Dolan, who I was just speaking about. If you watch him, you get why I'm singing, because he does singing things during his thing. He was a stand-up comedian. It doesn't surprise me one bit. But he says she should have named it the 45-minute business, which I sort of agree with. And now he talks about keeping the momentum going. But think about that, American Riviera Orchard. And her claim was she couldn't use it because she could only have products from that area. The woman lies more than I pee. I mean, seriously. And I'm in the loo all day long. I don't know if it's pregnancy or age. I mean, I almost need to wear diapers. My goodness. Here's something interesting that nobody has said, so I didn't steal this from anyone. Do you notice she hasn't sued anyone? She hasn't sued me. She hasn't sued Maureen or Kinsey or Mark Dolan. She didn't sue the guy who's at night, regular TV. Stephen Colbert. She hasn't sued anyone. She didn't sue Saturday Night Live. Well, if she's not suing all of us, and I'm just a peon compared to those people, then it must be true. Because they, remember that, man, I can't speak. This is the medicine. In the morning when I have to take it every 12 hours. And I really have to take it every 12 hours. I've had to set an alarm. I shake as if I'm going through withdrawal. I trip sometimes. And I think that may have had something to do with why I did this. With Lucy, I have to make sure she's in front of me on the stairs. She's going to kill me. A dog killed my mother. Goodness. If you want to know the story about my mother's death, I think it's in my videos. But if you like, I'll make another one. It's kind of interesting. She was murdered. And the boy would always say, Rudy, you murdered your mom, because my mom was his mom before I became his mom. She claims that she doesn't read any social media. God forbid. She just can't handle it. It's all lies. It's people trying to hurt her. She reads all of social media. Whatever we start talking about, she starts talking about. Even the news. She claims to not read the news either. I've already said this. They name a rose after Princess Catherine. 4 hours later, Meghan's in her rose garden picking flowers. Trust me, I'm getting to the vegetables. Catherine wears this gorgeous suit. Meghan destroys the look of the suit right after that. It starts going viral on social media that Meghan faked her pregnancy, and all of a sudden, she's going to magically have a 9th episode, and that comes up. She gained 65 pounds, but only in the front. Nothing on her chin, nothing on her ankles. Hillary Clinton has cankles. If you're really bored, look up Hillary Cankles, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Hillary's cankles, her ankles, are almost as large as her, what's it called? Your shins, that area. I just can't think of what it's called. That chick that Alec Baldwin married? Excuse me. Hilaria or something. She pretends to have an accent and be from Spain. But in reality, she grew up in a $3 million house in downtown Boston. She grew up with a lot of money. I'm sure they had a full-time live-in someone or something. But she was on some morning TV show. They were cooking. And she's like, oh, then we get our tomatoes. I can't do the Spanish accent. And we get our lettuce. And then we get what do you call it? And right as the hostess, the TV presenter, starts to say cucumbers, Hilaria says, oh, cucumber. Goodness. Ridiculous. And Maureen brought this up. Alex is stuck. what do they have, 6 or 8 kids? They live in a huge apartment in New York City. And Maureen brought this up, but I had heard this a while ago. Excuse me for a moment. What? Make noise. I have to, or I'll be wiping my nose the entire rest of the scene. Well, if this one doesn't work, then that worked out, because I've never had to blow my nose. I may try to edit that out, but, I'm not very good at that either. Alex has another apartment in that same building that he can go to when he's alone. This is getting a little long for my taste. So, what I'm saying, she doesn't comment on social media. Now, all of a sudden, this 9th episode, she's talking about how hard her pregnancies were, and the royal family made her go out in 6-inch stilettos, and all this stuff. Yeah, and so on her little teenage vision board, she's got this picture in black and white from afar. I think it's clearly photoshopped. With just her belly. She's got her little black, it may just be a black sports bra, or it's a black t-shirt pulled up, showing her belly. Well, if you go to my Twitter, you can see, I think you can see the lines from the prosthetic belly right on there. There's another one. I talked about it in my other video. There's another Photoshop of her, she and Harry with their heads together. They're not kissing or anything, just have their heads together. Someone did the work and found the 2 photos that was Photoshopped from. To me, it's just a very odd coincidence. Okay, I'll quickly talk about the vegetables. I should have done it at the beginning. Maybe I'll put it in the description. The vegetables. She picked them all herself. They're all color coordinated, and they're all clean, yet she appears to still be in her garden. She's wearing $1,000 Loro Piana slippers or something. And don't we all garden that way? Remember, she cooks in a $1,500 off-white cashmere sweater hanging over her shoulder, and another $1,000 worth of clothing on her. She's got all her jewelry on. When I'm cooking like that, I take my jewelry off and I put it in a little dish. Then I put it on the sill. She's absolutely ridiculous. She thinks we all are as stupid as Harry. That should be what this title is. But a couple of things. So in California, broccoli season ends in April. This was the end of May. So that broccoli would be dead and brown by now, because she makes a statement that they harvested all of this stuff today. When I'd be in Wisconsin, which it harvests later because it's more east, we would say the corn is knee-high by July. Well, I looked it up. In California, corn finishes around the end of June, the 1st of July. Her corn's beautiful. Clean, of course, beautiful. And one more I looked up. This one I had to look up. The other 2 I happen to know. I don't know why I knew the broccoli thing. Squash and peppers are ready to go around the end of June. This is the end of May. She has perfect squash and peppers. Again, she thinks we all are as stupid as Harry. Okay, tell me what you think. I'll try to maybe even do another one later today. I'm still working on the Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Who names their kid Gypsy? Maybe the mother deserved to be murdered just for that. Okay, if you're still watching, I'm totally shocked. If you're not subscribed, hook me up and subscribe. It'll make YouTube put my video around. Same with the whole thumbs up. Take care. God bless you. God bless America. Toodaloo.